Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Quentin Show. Another exciting show, definitely another exciting guest. We're going to go all the way to California and talk with Miss Janet Openshaw. And let me tell you where we're going with this show. She's an educator, she's a mother of three, but there's a demon in the closet: alcoholism, recovering, trying to get her life back on track, trying to regain that beast mindset that she once had. So let's go here. Janet, welcome to the show. Long overdue.
Hi, good to see you.
Before we get started, Janet, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are before we go down with your complete story of recovery and that beast mindset.
Well, I was born and raised in a small town in California, and I felt like I did everything right. I married my high school sweetheart, went to college, got my bachelor's degree at Cal State Fullerton, came back to my hometown and got hired as an elementary school teacher, and everything was going great. Had uh, three children with my now ex-husband. But towards the end, about 5 years ago or so, it was getting to the point where both of us were drinking just about every day. And sometimes he wouldn't come home from work. And so I would be at home with the kids, and I would feel like, oh, I deserve a glass of wine, or, I'm here by myself. He's out, who knows what he's doing. I deserve a glass of wine. And so it got to the point where it was constant every day. Um, and then I ended up um, doing some research and wanting to just kind of cut back. But I knew that I didn't want to have to go to like a rehab and leave my kids. I would try and quit drinking, and then just it wouldn't last. I would last like a couple days, and I'd be like, no, you deserve this, treat yourself. And I would just drink again. Um, and so I stumbled upon Claudia Christensen. She did a TED talk um, called One Little Pill. And I just started diving in to, um, to her story and um, her method of recovery. And it's called the Sinclair method. And what it is a pill that you take called naltrexone, and you take it an hour before you drink alcohol. And so you take the pill, you wait an hour, and then you continue drinking as you normally do. You still get buzzed, you still get drunk. Um, You just have to stay with that protocol. And every time that you drink, you take the pill and wait an hour. Um, and I think it's called like an antagonist. What it does is it rewires the pathways in your brain. And so doesn't give you that like satisfaction feeling um, after you take a drink. And eventually you forget about it. Like you don't think about, oh, when am I going to have my next drink? For some people, it takes not very long at all, like, a couple months, 6 months, a year. For me, it took 2 years. So I was doing the Sinclair method, meaning I was taking the pill, waiting an hour, and drinking every single day for 2 years until one day
Let
I
me ask a
just
question.
ate it.
I don't want to cut you off, but I want
Yeah.
to kind of throw some stuff in here real quick because it sounds crazy.
Right.
So let's go back to question number one before we get into the blue pill and the red pill.
Uh huh.
there's a drinking problem that started from where? Did it come out of college, depression? Something triggered the alcohol abuse. Did you have a history of alcoholism in your family? Did he have a history of?
No, not really. I mean, everybody, it's, I came from like a normal family where they used alcohol as like a celebration for everything pretty much. It's your birthday, it's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, it's New Year's. Like that was just a normal way to celebrate. People, it's the weekend. For me, it got to where I was like a codependent. So my ex-husband, I ended up dropping him off at a rehab facility. And when they checked him in, he was up to a bottle of vodka a day and a half a gram of cocaine. And so I didn't even know that he was that bad. Um and so it was almost as if I would be at home with the kids and doing all the housework and all the bills, and I was like the one in charge. And so I felt like it was like I felt like I deserved it. Like I deserved to get buzz to drink every day. And it just got to the point where it was I knew that the kids needed at least one solid parent that they could rely on. And that's when I really did like the research and just found this method and stuck with it.
Yeah,
Just
but you're talking 2 years when there's other alternatives. But let's go back again. You have,
Mhm.
and I'm not throwing you up under the bus. I don't want people to take this the wrong way.
Uh-huh.
You're an educator. You're an educator. And
Mhm.
I know there's pressure with being a teacher. I was a teacher too,
Mhm.
but you got children at home and two dysfunctional parents. So the problem is, were you really using the drink for abandonment issues, not being validated, that led down there? Because it didn't appear to be anything outside of this is something that your family is used to. But when does it really start to be a problem? Because if you have the problem and he has the problem, somebody's not seeing the big picture here. So when does this become to the point of endangerment of your own health, your job, the people around you, but more importantly, your children?
Yeah, it was bad, and it was all of the above. And it just got to the point where I knew I had to step up and do something about it and find a solution. And I'm just grateful that I did at that time, and that I'm still healing and rebuilding, but that it's been 100% better since I found that method and quit.
What other methods were you involved in, and how long did you participate in these messages? Did you do AA? What other things did you do prior?
No, I did a lot of reading, a lot of podcasts. I did the Alan Carr um book. He's the one, I think he also has one on for cigarettes. But just where it shows you all like how bad alcohol really is for you, like how it is a poison and what it's made out of. And I I tried a lot on my own, just trying like with my own willpower, and it wasn't working. And when I found the Sinclair method, I just I tried to listen to anybody who tried it and it worked for them, or they were on it, and listen to their stories and their successes. And you know I just that was like my number one hope was, that this method was gonna work. And it did. Like it changed my whole life.
How was your children affected, your family members, your job, based on you being out of control here?
Well, I never like drank at work or anything like that. I always waited. I did get to the point where I would school would get out at 3 o'clock. And so I would take the naltrexone, the pill, at like 2 o'clock, because I knew as soon as I got off work I would want that 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 drink. Um, so I would never drink at work. I was the responsible one. I got to the point where towards the end I would take the pill, wait an hour, and then I wouldn't even feel like drinking, and so I would take like ice with a super duper light beer and put it and just have one sip, and then that was it. Um because part of the method is to keep on to even if you don't feel like drinking, to use that as an extinction step, um to quit. And so eventually i I didn't take the pill, and I knew that like I just lost interest in it. Where before it was like, oh, if we're going on vacation or we're going camping or whatever, like make sure I have my wine or my alcohol. It was like something that was always like in the back of my mind, make sure I have it. Um, but eventually with the Sinclair method, it was like I didn't even think about it.
Let me ask a question. How did you silence the voice telling you to keep the pace when your soul is being destroyed?
Um, well, I knew that it depended. Like it took me how many, I started drinking when I was like, I don't know, 16, 17. But it took me so many years of drinking. I knew that I drank for so many years that it was going to take me a little bit of time to rewire my brain. And I knew that everybody was different, like the time range of um how long it took them to quit varied. And so I just didn't give up, and I figured, if I'm going to drink anyways, I might as well take the pill. Like what do I have to lose? So I just stuck with it. And then eventually it just like the need, the constant thinking about it just disappeared.
Who introduced you to drinking? You say you've been drinking since 16. It seemed to be a normal function in your
Mhm.
in your structure, but was it your whole family that introduced you to drinking at such a young age?
Yeah, and friends. I mean, it was just like what people did on, Friday night. Um, yeah, it was just very common, very common.
Hmm. Let me go ahead with my next question.
Mhm.
When you stripped away alcohol and medication, how did you survive the brutal silence of absolute reality?
Well, I did a lot of um like deep looking at my beliefs about things, especially growing up, like how everybody just thought that, drinking alcohol was okay and that it was accepted. Like nobody would like hide it or anything. Like it was just everybody drank, and how they didn't realize how poisonous it is and how bad it is for you and how it can seriously ruin your life. Um, and I had a lot of just limiting beliefs about myself, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't working hard enough, that just mainly that like I wasn't good enough. And I just do a lot of meditating. I do a lot of affirmations, writing, journaling, um, exercise a lot. Um, yeah, and just I try and sit with my emotions. For a while, I would just cry it out, and just until there were no more tears left to cry.
Yeah, let me go here with my next question. What is the very first step to unlearning a lifetime of conditioning that tell women to swallow their pain?
Well, you're always like, you feel like you have a certain level of expectations to live up to. And, as a mom, it's like you got to do everything at home, keep it together, but you also have to go to work. Um, and it was just a matter of balancing and trying to be a good mom and a good wife and a good worker, and house cleaner and cook and gardener, and I was wearing so many hats that it just got too
When
much.
you when you was consuming
Mhm.
the alcohol, did you also replace? Sometimes I believe when you're trying to switch from one addiction to the other, your husband at the time dabbled in both narcotic and alcohol. Did you eventually go down that same road? And if so, why?
No, I did not. I did not. He would hide the cocaine from me. Like I caught him like maybe once or twice in the bathroom, like being weird, fishy, and I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, and he would say, "Oh, it's just, I don't do it very often." Like, he would downplay it like it's not a big deal. And um he would he would go to the store and get cash back. So it wasn't like he was getting like withdrawals from the bank and going and buying the cocaine. It was like all like I didn't know that it was as bad as it really was until he started getting mean. He would come home and just rage, just be so angry at everybody that me and the kids we'd pretend that we were asleep because we didn't want to interact with him.
How was you able to? Well, clearly you wasn't concealing this from your children. I mean, when does reality step in and be like, both of us are not, both of us need some help here?
Yeah,
You know, if from your children, I mean, not your children. If you're making your children hiding from what their father is doing, and let's get real, you're not
yeah.
in the best of condition. How are you really? When does it like click? If I'm doing that and seeing my children, something's got to click.
Yeah, it got to the point where we were financially hurting, we were fighting all the time, didn't want to be around each other. And I would find bottles of vodka in his car and all over. And I looked into it, found him a bed at one of the rehab centers, and he went there and stayed there, no contact from us or to us, for about 29, 30 days. And during that time, it was I had stopped drinking after I dropped him off. I stopped drinking that day that I dropped him off. And so the house was just calm, and it just felt safe. It felt so much better. And then when he got out, he wanted to just come back home. And that's when I filed for divorce. And I got a restraining order on him. And yeah, we've been split since. I didn't let him back in. And I've been sober ever since.
Let me go here. How do you force your physical mindset, your body, your mind to keep in pace with the massive shift in your mindset right now? Because evidently he's not around. You see,
Mm.
I, I take it there's a shift change here. How do you do that?
Um, a lot of grit, a lot of um my mom, my sister, they both helped me a lot. Um, a lot of, like I said, reading and writing, exercise, crying it out. Just I also I play guitar, I play music, so I have like a whole, I don't know, 25 some songs. I call it my lyrical diary of just expressing like what I was going through at those times.
How do you stop using your trauma as a shield and turn it into absolute leverage?
Well, it started out where I wanted to like, well, I'll show him, like, but now it's to the point where I realized that everything was a lesson and a reflection. And I've since forgiven him, and he's always going to be my kid's father. But I just know that this is the path that I must have chosen from the very beginning. And I'm just grateful that I'm still pretty young. I'm only 48, that I caught it um, young enough to where I still have a fun, fulfilling life ahead of me.
For anyone paralyzed by what others will think, how do you find
Mhm.
the courage to burn the book instead of just turning the page?
Um, a big motivator was my kids. I knew that I had to step it up and be solid, give them someone that they could rely on.
I like the way you said that. And I was getting ready to go back because a lot of time addiction is not being able to accept accountability. So we heard a little bit about what your husband went to. So now let's go back and talk about the accountability process with this question. What's the ugliest and the hardest truth that you had to accept about yourself to become the person and change your life the way you are now?
I would say that I would no longer like use alcohol as like a reward that it was something that I deserved. Like, you know, I realized that it wasn't that. Just because I was being a mom and doing all those things didn't mean that I should, hurt my body in that way. And, I needed to show my kids um that you could enjoy life without having any substances, that you could find happiness inside yourself just
Mhm.
because you're here and you're alive.
Now, my main question here is: you filed for divorce, you're still young. Um, how do you parent your children knowing that both parents had issues with substance abuse? How do you navigate that to not de- de- undermine the husband, but also to keep accountability for yourself and let them know there is a safer path. And how do you do that with your children now, knowing that they've seen all this and they've seen the aftermath, which is a breakup?
Yeah, and they're older now too, so we talk a lot about it. They're my kids are 22, 18, and 13 now. Um, and so I'm straight with them. I growing up, I always thought that there was one person out there that's your soulmate that you have to find. And, you know, I now looking back, I realize that that's a bunch of baloney, that your love is infinite and you choose to love, and the love is inside you. And there's, it's it was like I stayed because I didn't believe in divorce, and I thought, oh, I've already made this promise that this is my soulmate, this is the one. And I didn't believe in divorce. And so it took me, we were together for 22 years, since we were together since I was 15. So it was really hard for me to get that flip that no, there isn't just one person out there that you're supposed to spend your whole entire life with. The people are put in your path and in your life for, different seasons for different reasons. And so I just talk to my kids about that, and how, he's always going to be their father, always going to be in their life, and we can learn from our mistakes, and take from those lessons. But they're all doing wonderfully. They all still live with me. Um, and we talk all the time. Um,
What are some of the
and
things that your children have shared with you now that they're older and the 13-year-old is getting into adulthood that you found that really hurt them, that they disclosed to you and you look back now and go, wow, I didn't realize I was that far gone, that even at the ages in which they were when this was transitioning, they had the insight to see, but was afraid to bring it to you. But now they're older. What are some of the things that they share with you that they had to deal with dealing
it
with
was
you and your husband's situation?
mainly the arguing was really bad, just like yelling and being mean to each other. And and the kids having to witness that and see that. um that really affected them. And we talk about it now, and tears flow. And we're just grateful that we're through that and past that. And yeah, it was bad. And I worried. I talked to my oldest, my son, and I'm like, sometimes I feel like, did I do the right thing by leaving? And he's always like, Mom, you did the right thing. Like that, it was bad. Like you saved us. It's far. It's like it's so much better.
What should somebody expect to get out of this story? Clearly, it's a beautiful story. I'm proud that you got that beast mindset back, that you have a continuous path to recovery. But
Hmm.
what should people get from your story altogether?
Um, I think the number one thing is that there's alternative methods to quitting alcohol. It doesn't have to just be AA, and it doesn't have to be cold turkey, and it doesn't, that there are other methods. And also that you know, the human condition, for me anyways, I always felt like there was something wrong with me. Like,
Mhm.
there's something wrong with me. I gotta fix something. Like, whether it be I need antidepressant depressants, or I need this, or I need that. Like that there's something wrong with me that I needed to fix. And now I don't feel that way. There's humans are they're fine the way they are when they are born, and there's nothing there's nothing wrong with us.
Hmm.
We can heal. We can heal on our own by ourselves. Um, our bodies know what to do. Um, and I just I I have new beliefs about things. Um, one being that we are all one, that we come from source energy. Where before growing up, I thought that it was, when you die, you get judged, and you either, if you were good, you go to heaven with God and it's beautiful and nice. And if you're bad, and then you go to hell and it's hot and there's a bunch of mean, scary people there. Like that's what I thought growing up. And in my family, we didn't go to church. We didn't talk about like what we believed in, or religion, or anything like that. We didn't talk about like what do we think happens when we pass away. Um and now I totally know that this is just like a rented bodysuit, and that our souls are infinite, and we're a part of source. We're a part of the creator that's within us. And that's been a huge shift in my life, in my perspective of things. And I would say, if you don't have if anybody out there feels lost or doesn't have a solid like foundation of, you know how we got here and why we're here, that look into some of those like some main people that I learned from is like Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Rhonda Byrne. Like I just have I found my own um path to
So
what feels comfortable to me to believe in.
that sounds like a winner. I'm gonna ask one last question, and
Hmm.
once again, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show and be so transparent. My last
Hmm.
question is: when odds creep back in, what's your non-negotiable rule to keep you from sliding backwards? Because it took 2 years to get to where you're at. You
Hmm.
know, so how are you? What are your negotiables here with your life?
Well, my kids were my number one motivation. Um, and I knew that, like, I just had hope that the Sinclair method was going to work, and it's proven to be like amazing in my life, because it's going on 5 years now that I've been sober, and it hasn't been it hasn't been like a struggle. Like it's not like it's almost like a switch just flipped, and it was like, no, that's not an option. you know it's not an option to go back to that.
Now, are you under doctor? Did you, before you underwent this method, did you consult with your physician, and what was your physician's take on you wanting to try this versus AA and all the other
Yeah. Yeah.
courses?
So I went to just my normal um physician, my normal doctor, and I had printed out on the website, the one little pill website, Sinclair Method. There's like an info sheet that is made for you to take to your doctor, so that you can show them, because a lot of people don't know about it. And especially physicians, doctors don't know about it. And so it's like an information sheet. And I printed that out and brought it into my appointment and just told her, I really want to cut back on drinking, and I've discovered this method. Um, and it involves a medication called naltrexone that I would like you to prescribe to me. Um, and it was like they had prescribed it for different things, but no one ever prescribed it with that Sinclair method protocol of, on the bottle say take it an hour before you drink. It was like for other, I don't know, to reduce cravings or something, but it didn't have like the actual protocol. That was
Mhm.
the way I saw it. Was the waiting an hour, that whole process of being the Sinclair method was a crucial part of it. Like if you didn't follow that and do and wait the hour every single time, that it wouldn't be as effective, um as it if you just took the pill for cravings or whatever. But yeah, so I took it to my doctor, the info sheet, and talked to her about it and told her that I this is something I really wanted to try, and that I just asked her if she would prescribe the medication to me, and she looked into it, and she was open, and yeah, she did it for me.
So, what's next for you now as we wrap up? Like, what's next for you? You're on a whole new spiritual journey. Your beast
Yes.
mindset basically has clarity to it right now. What's next for you?
So right now I play pickleball every day. I go to the gym every day, but I at my house, um I have property that it goes all the way back, and so I'm working with some investors and some contractors right now, and I'd like to make a single living, like a single mom living community where we all like pitch in and help each other out with like homeschooling, daycare, driving, cooking, cleaning, shopping, um and so I'm working on getting funding for that, and that's my next big goal, is that I want to help other single moms that are going through, who knows, um, but that need that little support, that village, um, and I have this space to do it. So I'm just staying positive and hoping that goes through.
How can the viewers reach out to you to know more about your project to, let's call it what it is, helping humanity, in this case, helping mothers in need? How can they reach out to you for that?
I post most of my stuff on my TikTok or my Instagram account. Just starting with YouTube right now, but mainly I'm trying to just make connections and post on other people's that are in those living communities, that have already started them, and just seeing what works for them and what they've learned from it, and just trying to get as much information, because it's kind of in the new stages. It was weird how it came to me. I was out in my backyard, just trying to quiet my mind and doing some meditation, and it just popped in my brain, like I got all this space out there in my backyard, and it's just kind of there, and what can I do, how can I help, and I started reaching out and made contact to a couple local um builders, contractors, and they said yeah, that they'll look into it and see if there's any funding, or investors that want to contribute to that, and that it's a great idea. So we'll see.
So
It's pretty fresh and new, but I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Definitely like like for you to come back once this project gets off the ground and we can do our part to pass that out. You know what,
Yeah.
Janet, thank you so much for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe, share, click, touch that button. All it takes is one click. to make a difference in your life or change somebody else's. This has been another, and I do mean another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show.